is about. However, there's a story there that has caused me to learn some lessons that I think might potentially be useful. What you see here is my dad, and he was born Armando James Rivera and only spoke Spanish until the age of 4 when he collided with the US educational system. The pressure from peers and teachers and his parents forced him to start going by James and forget Spanish. Despite not being able to pass that down to me, he passed down so much more, including a strong sense of right and wrong, a terrible sense of humor, and a love for the coastal dune ecosystems that I study to this day. However, in my senior year of undergrad, he passed away, and after going and getting my master's and now working on my PhD, I've been left to navigate through grad school, still trying to figure out who I am and my own identity, and kind of on my own. But in that journey, I've learned a lot of lessons, and after a lot of self-conscious reflection, I've come up with some ideas of how we might better survive grad school together, and I hope that they might be useful. I do want to give a massive disclaimer that I have no idea if any of this advice is good or if it works. After I pitched the idea, I almost quit grad school myself. But these ideas actually ended up keeping me here, keeping me going in academia, so hopefully they can be somewhat useful to y'all. The first idea is, please stop trusting DEI committees. Every single one of us probably has an experience with a DEI committee that has hurt our souls so much. They're not places where we can build community and build power. They end up being places to diffuse them. And I can tell many stories of myself and my friends getting really burned by those areas. After feeling that, you have to start to actually turn to where the love is kind of the next lesson. I think the UC systems strike was a big one for this. Learning who was showing up and learning to face them, to receive and give love to, and also the inverse of who didn't arrive and who didn't show up. It really said a lot. We had an opportunity to stand up for each other, an opportunity to push things forward and make things better. The people that weren't interested in that are probably not people you need to put too much of your energy into. After that, you have to learn to pivot. In my grad experience, I've pivoted my friends, I've pivoted my research, I've even pivoted my advisor. I don't think you should get too attached to things. For example, after a long summer of doing theory work on community assembly, I decided, who cares? And I started working with a tribal land trust to look at ethnobotany and restoration in a way that aligns more with my value. However, sometimes pivoting isn't enough, and you need to exist mostly out of spite. We're existing in these institutions built by and for white supremacists, and if sometimes you need to just have a little bit of anger to get from point A to point B, I used to be self-conscious about that, and the more and more I think about it, the more I think it's okay. One of my undergraduate students, read papers and critique papers, described our sessions as how to be a hater 101. And the more I think about it, the more I stand by it, because if you're not hating on the system, whose side are you on? But in a more optimistic way, what I keep coming back to is that there are people who want to help. I put up here my advisors who are all white, but are all lovely. Special shout out to Jimmy Girdler for getting me on this panel even. They might be hard to find, but there are some amazing people who do care and do want to help. They're just sometimes really difficult to locate. Finally, and I think this is the most important one, is that you have to be a little bit annoying about building your community. Sitting right there are some members of the Ecology Kids of Color, and after a particularly stressful day where some professors were joking and having a fun time highlighting the work of Nazis and eugenicists, I threw all my cohort mates of color into a group chat. And that has grown and grown to include more and more people. It's become a weekly happy hour. And not the DEI community, but this informal space with these people have been the place where I found support and power and community. And I cannot stress enough that you can build that together. But you have to be a little bit annoying. I encourage all of you to be the annoying one, to say, hey, come to happy hour, hey, come hang out, let's all get in a group chat. Because that, when you put your effort into that, it actually returns to you twofold. So I just want to say thank you. I hope some of this was useful. And I'm just really grateful to be here. So thank you so much.